What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about KASPA today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's talk about this, right? I want to talk about KASPA basically every day, do a quick little update on it for this week or so. I want to see how it reacts with this Kraken release, right? So far, it's going about exactly as we had expected to, selling off the exact day that you got released onto a centralized exchange. The positive thing is about Kraken is that it's not a tier 1 exchange. They call it a tier 1 exchange. I don't know who they are or why they call it that, but I don't think I think KuCoin is above Kraken, and KuCoin's a tier 2 exchange, right? Coinbase, Binance, maybe Bybit are the tier 1 exchanges, right? You need a lot of volume, and even Bybit is kind of like tier 2, but they deal with a lot of funds, so I think that deserves it. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to say is, so far we've got the sell-off that we were expecting, but it wasn't as intense. I have to admit, it's not as intense. 6.7% is not that big of a deal. It's on your listing day, a little bit of selling pressure, of course. I was even looking at the volume here, 24 hours. It's not a lot of volume. There wasn't a lot of selling volume, selling pressure, at least not yet. And there might not be. But that's kind of encouraging too, right? That's definitely kind of encouraging. That's the benefits of it listing on Kraken instead of Binance or Coinbase, right? There's not as much selling pressure. If we take a high to a low here, of which you did have a double bottom, you did get to your 618, tipped it, pulled back to your 382, and now you're up above your 618, got to your 786. It's a very productive looking fib, to be completely fair, and you pulled back to your 618. Yes, you went a little bit lower today, and yesterday you went a little lower, but you closed above the 618 2 days in a row. If you can keep closing above the 618, maybe I should rephrase it, as long as you're not closing below the 618. You can go below there, but don't close below there. I think the upside is more to be considered than the downside. So technically, so long as you close today above the 618, your next target would be 19 cents, even after a tier 2 listing. Call it a tier 1 if you want. I don't care. Tomato, tomato, whatever. I don't think Kraken's that big of a deal. I mean, it's a bigger deal in the crypto space, but who cares, right? What am I even trying to talk about? I'm trying to talk about KASPA, right? I still do believe that we could see prices go below these lows, below this low and below this low here, and somewhere around this low. I still do believe that, right? You have this trend. I'm going to delete the fibs there. You have this trend that you've clearly broken out of, and this could simply be a back test before going lower, right? Moves down do not happen in straight lines, just like moves up don't happen in straight lines, right? You're moving up, but it's not a straight line the whole time. Maybe for a brief period, but you didn't stop here. You went higher, and that wasn't all in a straight line, right? All I'm trying to say is, on the road down here, it would make sense that you have a standard retracement, a little bit of a bounce, and then you come down, right? A little 1, 2, 3 maneuver. But if we look at this for what it is, we take this low here to this low here, right? You've got a very clear line of support. You broke through it, and then you pulled back up to it. It does look like a back test, and this, as of right now, at least on a weekly perspective, does not look the best. On a daily perspective, you closed like right above it and then right at. That's not the best look either. You want to get back above this line soon, and really what you don't want to do is get further away from it soon, right? So if you don't get above it soon, at least just consolidate around it, right? Play with it or something. And then beyond all that, of course, the 61869 is an area to consider. If you don't hold above the 15.75 cent area, you likely will return at least to, I would have to say, 14.5 cents. But at that point, guys, I would start to consider that 8 cent target area really is a likelihood, right? At this point, I haven't taken it off the table. I still think it's completely possible. There's even a very solid chance that you do return to these levels, which are around 8 to 9 cents. You're at 16 cents now. And if you were to do that, I don't think that's the death of KASPA. In fact, I think that'd be a good accumulation zone, and then you'd have a nice rally to your all-time highs, maybe in the middle of 2025, maybe just before mid-2025, or just after. Maybe you top off with the rest of crypto in late 2025, and this setback takes longer than I'm giving it credit for. But I don't think that it ends here. I don't believe that's the all-time high. It could be. It really could be. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I guess it depends on if you find support here. If you don't find support on 8 cents, then yeah, that's the end of it. And unfortunately, that's a very late call to be calling for the bear market to ignite, right? It makes sense that, and I think this is something we should consider, is that this could be the all-time high for KASPA of this cycle. It really could be. Let's look at the charts, right? On a monthly perspective, you had very severe double bearish divergence, right? That divergence has already kind of fulfilled itself, actually, to be completely fair, but that is cycle-ending shit right there. That really is, right? You're finding support on the 50. That's good. Getting a bullish engulfing candle on the monthly, or at least it kind of looks like it could. That's good, guys. You just want to keep moving up. You don't want to give up too much ground from here, right? Because again, if you do, I'm not saying that condemns you to this being an all-time high and then you have to wait for the full bear cycle before you get your next pump. I would more think that you do still have higher to go. But it is to be considered, and especially as we get closer to this area, it is to be considered that this could be the cycle high, right? I don't think it is. But if you don't think that there's a chance in hell that is, then that's not a good way to look at things, man. You need to have your head on a swivel. You need to be aware of all the possible outcomes, right? And even if you didn't get to sell at 20 cents and you had to sell at 7 cents, it took you breaking this low to be convinced that was the cycle high, at least you're not going to ride the bus all the way back down, right? Likely, if this were, I don't think it is, but if it were to be the cycle high, you would probably see KASPA pull back 90% overall at a minimum, right? And that doesn't really make sense from a price perspective. You're very close to these monthly closing lows, and even these lows here, a very significant dip. So I would say probably KASPA for its bear cycle, you could expect to see prices around 1.6 cents to 1.2 cents, something like that, if this was the high. If it's not the high, these numbers will change, right? So again, just implementing the idea that even if you had a late sell, even if you were a bag holder to some degree, right? You didn't sell at an ideal time at all. In fact, you sold at a very unideal time. Even at 6 cents, even at 7 cents, that's dramatically higher than 1 to 1.5 cents is, right? It's dramatically higher. So, and if everybody's like, KASPA can't drop 90%, dude, I'm just telling you, right? Let's slap a little logic into that noggin of yours, right? High to low here, dropped 74%, right? In just a matter of like a couple months, not even a couple months, right? High to low here, dropped another 74%, right? I have a point, just trust me, okay? 72%, not long amounts of time at all, right? These are not bear cycles you're going through, they're just corrective phases. If this is how big the drops were during your bull cycle, how big do you think the drop overall is going to be during your bear cycle? Do you think it's going to be smaller than any of these bull cycle drops? Absolutely not. That's uncharacteristic of a bear cycle. You would likely see a larger overall drawback than any consolidation phase you saw in the bull cycle. So anybody who's saying 90% is impossible, I would take a 90% for KASPA to drop from its all-time high to where it could go by the end of its bear cycle, saying that that's impossible. I would take a guess and say that this might be your first cycle, or you're very emotionally attached to this coin, and or both, or both. And it's okay, but stop it, right? Understand that nothing has to go your way. It doesn't have to go your way. Life doesn't care about your plans, right? This was supposed to go to $50 this cycle. You're supposed to retire. Life doesn't care. That's not what reality is, right? Reality is your opinions, your feelings don't matter, right? It's going to do what it's going to do. And I'm just saying this to prepare you. I'm saying this to prepare you, right? Because I don't want bag holders. And even if, and I'm not involved in KASPA, right? Who cares what I want? But I'm just saying I don't like seeing anybody miss out on potential gains for the rest of the cycle. If your funds are locked up in this and it's slowly whittling its way down here, you're going to miss out on a lot of gains that other cryptos could have brought you. If it does break out below this, and I don't assume that this is the high, that would be a very late sell, right? But still, even there, at least you would sell at a decent price, and you'd miss a good bit of the drop to come, and you'd probably be able to buy back in at lower prices, reallocate your money, actually lower prices than that even, right? Reallocate your money, buy back dramatically more KASPA than you sold, and then you're set for the next cycle, right? Just an idea to throw out there. But this video has already gone on long enough. I didn't mean for it to go on this long or even go over those topics. Really what I wanted to pertain it to was just the immediate stuff, what to look forward to. I do like that you're finding support on this here. You've got bullish things and bearish things going on. Something has to give. If you want to avoid seeing prices below here, first and foremost, you don't want to close a day below this low. You don't want to see prices below this low. Really, just don't go below 13 cents. That would be nice. Don't go below 13 cents anymore. That's just at a basic level, very shallow level of analysis. take it a step up, add the fibs on there. Really, it'd be nice if you didn't get any days to close below here. And if you do, it's okay. It's not the end of the world because you did find support on your 382, which would then imply that the next area to find support on would be your 0.5. So even if you don't close above the 618, hope is not abandoned. 14.5 cents could be the area that you find support, and then you're still working your way up to new all-time highs, right? This is the whole idea, that you're working your way up to new all-time highs. If that idea is false, if it's a farce and it's not going to happen, at least not yet, then what you would probably do is you would close below the 618, you would break below the 0.5, and if you break below the 0.5, to me, there's no hope. There's no reason to hope anymore. I definitely, that'd be a 786 rejection, and you're going down. You're going to see a lower low than this. Technically, by the fibs definitions, you would have to get, I think, below the 382 to really confirm that you'd be going below this, to really confirm the idea. But just with what you've done so far, I think it's acceptable to say that if you go below the 0.5, we can expect to see lower prices than this, right? And we take it a step further. We take this, if this was the high, if it was the high, if you do continue to move and you don't continue to build, if you were to go lower, 8.6 cents is a target, 7.1 cents is a target, anywhere in between, right? And I think, truthfully, if you go below this low, that means that this thing, it topped off. It's done. Its bull cycle's over, and it will be months, maybe even a year, before it starts moving up again. Just to be completely frank. So what you're doing right now is very critical, right? And I gotta say, I think there are, again, bullish and bearish things going on, but I am impressed. I am impressed that the sell-off wasn't that dramatic for CAS, right? I am impressed that you're even bouncing now. You're finding support at a previous area of resistance at your 123 moving average, right? An area that you found support on and resistance on before. It's definitely a significant line. You're doing the right things in the RSI. You look like you want to go up. There's other things that are holding you back as well. You just need to beat that. You need to keep going, right? It would be very nice if you continue to close prices above your 618, which again is at 15.787 cents. Continue to close above there. That would really boost my confidence that this thing is going to see new highs. And the thing that would do it for me, ultimately, that would convince me that you're going to see new all-time highs in a very short amount of time, would be as soon as you close any given day, any given week above 19.14 cents. You do that, I'm convinced you're not going below this low. You are going above this high, and you're going to see at least 25 cents, if not 32 cents, potentially by the end of the year. Yeah. But that all depends, guys. It all depends on what you do right now, right? Like this week is really, really critical, and that's why I will dedicate my time to make. I wasn't even going to make more videos, man, but I just remembered I was going to make a video about CAS. I said that yesterday, so I will dedicate my time every day this week to a CAS video, just to give a little update, to keep track of what we're doing, because I do think it is a really critical time right now. And I keep saying the same thing, but you've got just as many bearish things as you have bullish things. So I don't think it's appropriate to be completely leaning one way or the other. There's no reason to give up hope. There's no reason to be blind faith just yet, right? We've got time to figure things out. We need to figure things out. And I hope by the end of this week, if not even sometime next week, we do resolve. We get some resolve and some directional heading, right? To me, it doesn't matter. If it goes down, it goes up. I'm not involved, right? But the only reason I care is because it is a little bit confusing right now. It is in a bit of a critical zone. Make a decision. Help me see what I can see. That way I can tell you guys what I'm expecting. Anyways, that's all I got for you. If you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Again, ending it on a good note, I actually am impressed with how little you sold off from Kraken, and that kind of re-illustrates reinforces the idea that I was laying out yesterday, which is that even though Kraken's listing, it's a centralized exchange, it's not a really big exchange, not like Coinbase or Binance. The selling pressure might be less. You might still have buying pressure from Coinbase and Binance, you know what I mean, and other exchanges too that haven't listed yet. So that could offset it. And then again, looking at CoinGecko here, seeing the amount of volume you saw in the last 24 hours, that is reassuring on an exchange listing. Let's just hope it doesn't pick up in the form of downside movement. Okay, with that, I leave you. Take care. Bye-bye.